I can't hear Tim.
Yeah, I can't hear Tim either.
Tim, take yourself off of mute. Take yourself off of mute, Tim.
Not a live stream, folks, if something doesn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm. Can't hear you, Tim.
Like, okay, so Don says he hears all three of us, but Jeff, you and I just can't hear Tim.
That's awesome.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, Roger says 2 of the 3 have audio.
Details. Details,
Okay.
please. There we go.
There we go. Hi, Tim.
Hey. All right. Well, that's weird. Let me get rid of these fancy headphones then, and and that was cool. We are here. We are kicking the tires and trying to get this behemoth in gear. And what better way to do it? And then take the opportunity. The guys over at the Ham Radio Clubhouse have taken a couple weeks off to rest and recuperate and I don't know, get over that hangover or whatever that is. But so we thought we'd get some things to fill in the gaps here in their absence. So obviously tonight we're doing this in their time slot, but we are looking for, or at least I'm looking for, a regular time slot that we can kind of do this on a semi-regular basis, primarily with the creators that are doing the videos and the premieres, just so we could get in and talk about the various videos, things that we've got going on, and but also use this time to encourage others, other ham radio operators, makers, people who are interested in electronics to kind of jump in and join us in the space here and do those kind of things. So tonight I've got Frank.
Yo.
God, I can't even read. I did take my glasses off here. KG6NLW and Jeff K3JRZ, which everybody should be familiar with. I've got invites to some other people too, so maybe they'll jump in and out. Obviously, with tonight being Christmas Eve, not everybody was free to be available, and that's cool because, like I said, this is really just more of a kind of a test drive to see what everybody is doing and thinking. So, Frank, you had a premiere tonight. How did that go for you?
I did. I think I got everybody drunk, a shot every time I said toads. So there was a lot of toads in there tonight. By the way, Tim, probably right below me, right down here in our video, click the spread us out icon so that we're not all vertical and squished.
Yeah. Let's see here.
There you go.
How's that? There we go.
That's better.
Yes.
Now we get full screen of all of us instead of partials of everyone.
But
yeah, I had a premiere.
But I'm sorry. Now the OCD in me is kicking in, and I got to have a fourth person. We need a fourth person.
Know. Freddie, get your butt in here.
That's right.
So yeah, I had a nice premiere tonight, and as if everybody's not already tired of all of me saying this, just going to pop up right over my face. I'm up at 815 subs. I'm looking to get 1,000 by midnight on 12/31. That's midnight Pacific time. So we'll see what happens there.
It'll be Pacific. Then it'll be Hawaiian time, and then it's going to be Malaysian time.
No,
he's going to get it.
Singapore time, Hong Kong time.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
and then we're going to skip the international date line, and we're going to start back over again. But it's still going to be the same day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So
Frank, make sure you put a link to your channel in the chat.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll pull one for Jeff's channel as well so that I can drop it as well. But other than that, not much going on here. I'm just having fun, working hard. For those that don't know, I'm a railroad conductor, and we don't get time off. That's one of those professions that you don't get time off, period. but I'm having fun, and yeah. So there's my link, and I'll drop Jeff's here as well. That's about it for me. I'm over here playing FT8 on 12 meters, trying to get all bands in one day.
Awesome,
Hey,
cool. I
Frank,
know
thank
the other
you.
night you were having some problems with live streaming and FT8. I think you said you got most of that worked out now.
Yeah. So let's see. Can't pull the cable up, but I have to unplug the cable from the radio that goes to the mixer board in order for it to not hum. So with no hum, I unplug it during FT8, and then I'll plug it in when I'm doing sideband, if I do any sideband on the live stream. And who has APRS running in the background? Oh, okay. We can hear it beeping.
I think that might be K8MRD. That's
yeah. He's messaging Jeff in the background on APRS. Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Well, that's what
so
happens when you
John has
at
a comment.
the
He
last
says,
minute.
"Free the ferrites," which I know. I know Frank went into quite an extensive rundown of all the ferrites that he has on his computer. I think that if I'm not mistaken, the next step is to put your computer inside of a ferrite. Is that?
Yeah, that's the next step. I think Quirky James said he was going to make me a special case just for that. So we'll see what happens there. No, so what Jeff's probably talking about are the big ferrites that I have on the coax cable, the 240s that I showed off of Amazon. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to free those up because they killed off RFI for other issues that I was having.
Yeah, I did want to say that I think I made a comment on the stream about that, and you mentioned Amazon. I would caution people to be careful with Amazon, eBay, ferrite purchases, and the reason I say that is that there's really no way that you, as the end user, can test that material to know the proper mix.
Well, now here's a hot take for you. Those ferrites were ape approved.
Well, I understand that they're ape. I understand that they're ape, but ape approved. Ape knows what he's doing with them.
Yeah.
But in general, most people, and you can't always guarantee that you're going to get the same thing over and over each time. My personal recommendation, and now some of them are color coded. But I think the color coding standards are about as loose as other, stand. I've gotten ferrites that are not color coded, and so I just caution that. I would say if you're going to purchase them through a reputable retailer. DX Engineering sells them. Palomar Engineers sells them. If you want to DigiKey, Mauser Electronics, those places where they specialize in it. The problem with Amazon is a lot of times it's just product. It's just material. I slap a sticker on it. Somebody picks it out of a thing.
That's funny. These smaller snap-ons, I got those from DX Engineering.
Okay.
So yeah, those were all legit. Well,
yeah, I got all of them
as legit as you can.
Yeah. I got all of mine from Palomar Engineers, and they work. I like that you cautioned about Amazon there, Tim. You never know what you're going to get from Amazon. It's worth to spend the money on the good stuff. Don't be a cheap ass. Spend the money to help yourself fix your issues. It's worth it in the long run.
Oh, absolutely.
Buy once, cry once. Buy cheap, you're going to cry a lot.
There's a lot to be said for that. Most definitely. Chris Radio and Life says all he knows now is he has an AM broadcast choke. And I think we talked the other night on Discord. And if I remember right, he is close enough. I think he has the G90 and he's close enough to an AM radio station that he's getting some front end overload on that. So how's that working out, Chris? Is that working good for you now?
While we're waiting for him to reply, anyone want to guess what's in this box above my head?
A battery.
Well, yeah, obviously there's a battery, but based on the size of it, we're what?
Is it bigger than a bread box?
Oh, absolutely, it's huge. Let's see.
Is it smaller than a car?
Yes,
Hmm.
it's about 10 inches by 7 inches in diameter.
Okay.
And hopefully that wasn't enough to show the label there. But this is one of 2 boxes of stuff that's going to be given away on my live stream on Friday, including some quirky items.
Have you got that published already? The link for the
No,
live stream?
it's going to go up tomorrow, and then I'll be sharing links to everyone that wants to join from the YouTubers bunch. You, Jeff, Freddie, Josh, Mike. Going to be a grand old time.
Oh, hey, looks like we've got a new person popping in. Alan, give me a thumbs up if you're ready.
Can you hear
And
me?
while we're waiting,
Hello,
hey,
hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that,
Is this thing
Alan.
on?
Man, look at he
So-
comes in here and he makes an explosion. I don't know if I can do it.
Woo-hoo!
Yep.
all 3 you should be able to.
Yeah, I'm on an Insta camera, and I don't know if I've got
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you have to be on the physical Mac camera in order to do it.
Oh.
You know what? I
Ain't gonna work
think.
then.
Yeah, it says reactions are unavailable on this camera.
Yeah.
Well, darn it.
Lame.
So while we're dissing the reactions here, apparently Don switched right over to 12 and got Tango 32, Tango, Tango, Tango right off the bat. That is Christmas Island. They are on
Awesome.
air on all bands from now until I've forgotten when, but they're out there, and I've worked them on 4 or 5 bands already.
I worked them whatever night you did your live stream.
2 nights ago.
2 nights ago. Yeah, when I fired up FT8 and was able to work them, and did quite a bit of FT8 over to EU that night. Alan, speaking of FT8, I heard you're out at Chino State Park today, maybe doing some activating back in California.
Yeah, it was a really exciting day. I went out with my dad to do FT8 POTA at Chino Hills State Park. Like, this is where I'm from. I did my Eagle Scout project there too when I was a kid. And ever since I got into ham radio, I've always wanted to do an HF activation in California, and finally got to make that happen today. We just did FT8. You know, it's Christmas. We got stuff to do. We got to get back, you know, to the family and stuff. So let's just throw up an antenna and jump on FT8. And we got there, and my brother, I got him one of those flagpole stander master thingies to like stand up the mast, but
Yeah.
he didn't get there in time, so we didn't have that. Actually, who's coming in? Oh, look, and this is my brother-in-law, Danny. Hey, Danny, you want to be on YouTube?
No, I just want to grab the cake.
No.
Presents in waiting room.
It's just crap. Yeah, he's all the presents, by the way. But yeah. So we don't have a way to stand up the mast, right? But so we get there. We have some like gear tie things, and we're like, how are we gonna get this thing up? The first spot that we saw that there was a picnic bench. There was no fence. There's nothing to like really like, you know, like wrap around some gear ties to stand up the mast. But there's a trash can.
Right. That's all that matters,
There
right?
you go.
Yeah, just using what was there, got it up on a trash can. The mast only fell over one time until we finally got it. It was surprisingly windy and moist and cold in California. I feel like I brought all that Indiana weather with me to California, but we jumped on FT8, made it happen. I got about 12 accused in about 15 minutes, and I got Chino Hill State Park activated. So that was a great time, and we had a lot of fun.
Hey, you didn't see any strange looking guy driving around in a white Tesla that had a ATOS 120 on there?
No.
Looking creeping around?
Okay. No, I ain't seen none.
So I don't know if you know him, but Greg K6EGG is a regular live streamer. He does he doesn't really make a lot of videos, but he mostly does live streaming. He's our
Yeah.
broadcast audio engineer, and but he goes to Chino State Park. He doesn't live too far from there, so that's kind of his home park.
Nice.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't been to that park in like 5 or 6 years. The last time I was there, there's a soda summit up there too. I did San Juan Hill on VHF with my Alinco radio and like a roll up. That was actually one of the first times that I used a roll up J pole on a soda summit. And some of my guys that would usually chase me were like, dude, you're like 20 decibels hotter than usual. So, like, that was really cool. That would have been really fun to do a soda and a pota, but we didn't have time to like go on hike. That's the next California goal. Really, the goal is to get on top of Mount Baldy and do a QRP soda activation up there on
There you go.
HF. Yeah, but maybe another trip.
I don't know. Hillbilly Ham said maybe he lives in Chino. Is that
Yeah,
the same,
Greg lives
same
in
area?
Chino.
Yeah.
State Park? Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Chino, California, and then Chino Hill State Park is right on the edge surrounding Chino.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to be on
I
his live
thought
streams all the time.
I'm roughly 30 years free and sober of living in California, so I don't necessarily remember.
So you're a California refugee too, then?
Well, no, I moved. The Navy took me to California,
Oh, okay.
and I was there while I was on active duty.
He was forced to live here. That's the difference.
But I got to keep my Indiana driver's license, and that's all that
Okay.
really mattered. Not that
Yeah.
that was a great thing, but I didn't have to pay taxes. But I tell you what, that is one thing, and I know Alan. I know you being a California resident. I remember all the fun stuff that you could do there in Southern California, and not. You could go any different cardinal direction and find something different to do, whether it was the mountains or the desert
Yeah.
or down into Mexico or out in the ocean. And that was one of the things I really missed. And I know you've transplanted here to Indiana for work. But you seem to be having fun. You do a lot of the POTA videos. I know you hiked up the dunes at the Indiana State Dunes Park, which is kind of like a soda summit.
Yeah,
Kind of.
it's not really. It's a lot. It's maybe 100 vertical feet versus like, thousands of vertical feet of hiking. And oh boy, howdy, I can tell you, if you want to talk about the mountains in California and get started in ham radio, I got some stories I can tell you. So make sure, if you guys are watching this, subscribe to Punk Rock Ham Radio on YouTube. It's going to be January when I get back to Indiana. It's going to be probably too cold for being the Californian that I am, but I'm gonna do like a long form vlog and tell the whole story about how I got into ham radio. And I have dozens of stories to tell about all these mountains. You can go up there with an $18 Baofeng if you want, and just a little rubber duck and antenna, but you're up at 10,000 feet, and that's pretty good antenna, and you can work a pile up as a technician there, and I had so much fun doing that. I mean, that was the gateway drug that started this whole entire thing. And then I got out to Indiana finally because I didn't have any more mountains, and I'm like, dude, I gotta get that general class ticket. I gotta do it. There's this POTA thing that's really similar to soda, and I finally got that. Took me a little while, stumbling through things at first, but this summer, man, me and Indiana finally bonded, and like I'm having so much fun, and like finally, like I realized winter is just temporary, and there are endless adventures in every single direction out in Indiana too. And I mean, whether it's in Indiana or like any other state or part in the world, that's really what's the most fun about Parks on the Air, is that, dude, you get to like explore all this stuff, and there's just endless adventures to go on, and I could go on and on and on. But yeah, dude, I'm having so much fun.
So Tim, Dave over here, KE6GAE Hillbilly Ham, he wants to know, were you at Mare Island or down south?
I was at 32nd Street Naval Station. So in San
There you
Diego.
go. Yeah. And then apparently we summoned him.
Yes.
The great Greg is in the chat.
But to answer Mare Island, I'm not sure what all is there, but my people, my Navy people, the school or the rating that I was a fire controlman. We had a lot of schools that were at Mare Island, but I did my schooling on the East Coast. Yes. Hey, Greg, by the way, Alan is here, Alan Punk Rock Ham Radio, and he is a transplant to Indiana, former neighbor of yours out in that area, and was out activating Chino Hill State Park today. So I'm sure you guys can hook up and maybe do a POTA activation while he's out there on break.
And
Yeah,
Tim,
my
Yes, sir.
flight leaves tomorrow. I'm leaving here at like noon on Christmas Day. It's way cheaper. There's less people, and then I got the next day off before I go back to work again. So my
You're
time here.
coming back tomorrow then to Indiana?
Yeah, on Christmas Day.
Oh, okay. Are you flying to Indianapolis or up to Fort Wayne?
Fort Lame.
Fort Lame.
Fort Lame. Yeah, I'm just poking fun. It's a good place to live, but coming from a
Yeah.
place like California, I just like to have a little fun. I just call it Fort. And this video that I made at the airport, I'm calling it Fort Lame International Airport because it's not really an international airport. They just get you over to the big airport that gets you wherever you want to go on those itty bitty little airplanes.
I suppose if a plane coming from Canada had to divert, it could land there.
Yeah.
And be okay because it's an international airport.
Okay.
But, yeah. So Chris Becker was asking, does Indiana have any sodas? I think we might have three.
There's
okay.
three
And
in southern Indiana. There are 3 1-point summits. They're on my to-do list. I'll get to them eventually, but yeah, there's 3.
I kind of felt like 1 or 2 of them were on private land though.
There's one in Michigan that's like about an hour. That one's on a private land. There's 3 summits in southern Indiana. I haven't really done that much research on them, so I don't really know about those. But Campbell Hill in Ohio is not that far from where I live, and that's like a 6-point drive up summit, and that's probably what I'm gonna hit next. After this winter thing goes away.
Okay. Yeah, so the Morgan Monroe State Forest behind where I live has some pretty high ridges. I don't know what necessarily counts as a summit versus just being up above ground sea level. I mean, we're 550 feet roughly here. These are at 1,200 feet. But there's not like a true summit. This is more crap that was piled up on top of the glaciers when they stopped and then melted and then just got dropped on top.
So what you need, Tim, for a soda summit to be considered a soda summit is 150 meters between each prominence. So go up 150, come down, need another 150 before you go back up again. So there's that qualifies for soda summit. So you have one peak and then 5 meters later you have another peak. It ain't gonna count.
No, these aren't peaks. These are more high ridges that they've got gravel roads that run up the top of them. But not anything. Chris says he's got a summit like 20 minutes away from him. So he's kind of like me with POTA, where I've got 5 minutes I'm in the park, 15 minutes or less I'm at a twofer inside the park, which I love because you can double your contact count. Just that the downside to that is that because it's Scout Ridge Nature Preserve. Last winter they had it closed. So far they have not closed the gates yet. So I've been driving in there every morning. I'm off right now for work, so I'm so used to getting up early. I'm take my coffee and go over there and activate. So that's
how about a 3-fer? Got any 3-fers?
There is one. So they opened up a couple more nature preserves at the Morgan Monroe State Forest. And so there is a nature preserve inside the state forest that also shares a boundary with the Yellowwood State Forest. So there is a point there, the apex, where all 3 of those come together, that you can do a 3-fer and be on the trail. So I hiked it one time. You have to hike in about a mile to get to it, which isn't a big deal. And it's a fairly flat hike. It's old roadbed that is overgrown, so it's not in horrible shape. I mean, it's a pretty flat, easy walk. But then you can just set up alongside the trail, and that's what I did. Although I had a hard time activating it because I spent more time with hikers coming by asking me, what I was doing, and obviously wanting to not be a butthole about it. I took some time and introduced myself and what was going on. So.
Speaking of being butthole, what is it with some of these DX contacts on FT8 that they don't confirm on QRZ? I'm sitting here trying to get awards on QRZ, all those fake awards, and I'm sitting here. I have one confirmed contact on 12 meters so far. I want at least two before I move on to the next band.
So, Greg, yes, I did do Red Rock Canyon outside of Vegas, but I didn't hike up on top of those hills to do any soda summits. But I guess you're going to tell me that being in the park was a soda summit. And to that point, also the pavilion, and I think most of the campsite area at Monsanto State Park is also a soda summit. I just didn't take any of those contacts and send them up to soda.
Oh, you should definitely send them up to soda.
I got about 400 contacts.
Okay, and
okay. Hey, we're here to play, man. Have some fun.
When it's time to ham, you're gonna ham hard.
Ham hard, man. Ham on.
Let's see. Looking at the map, yeah, it's right off the North Plateau Loop Trail is where the soda summit is. So maybe not.
For which park?
For Monsanto.
Montana. I don't know. The soda people were telling me that at least the pavilion itself was in the soda area.
I just dropped a link in the private chat for you.
Okay.
Private. Greg, yes, they have fake awards for soda too. Don't worry. That's not left out.
Those soda awards, man, I'll tell you what, when I first got into ham radio and I was doing summits on the air, I bought like those plaques that you get when I got my first 100 points. Like I was so stoked, and I it was like I just won the honor roll and I got this thing, and it's like so cool. I still have them framed in my room, and I just thought it was the coolest thing.
Let's see.
All right.
Do this right. These are my yes, I know it's cut off. I don't know why, but these are my soda stats right here. So not too bad.
You want to see my soda stats?
You have soda stats, Jeff?
No, I got 0.
You couldn't pull up a page.
I haven't done that yet. There's no summits in Delaware. The highest elevation is like 475 feet, I think someone said the other day. I don't remember. I thought it was 415, but. And the repeater on there is not even that strong. That's the funny thing, too. The strongest repeater is on the flat land. Delaware is so funny.
So this is the camping area right here in the loops. This is the primitive loop, and the rest of these are campsites. And if I'm not mistaken, here is the pavilion. Or maybe not. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
why. Don't you go right and then on the left? Yeah.
This is the pavilion here for the where everybody hangs out. I don't know if that's is that in the summit?
Is the red the summit or the trails?
There is on the main pair. There's a map that was in the images that you can look at.
I mean, I'm not a Boy Scout, so I was only a Boy Scout leader, so I did not have to learn how to read maps.
Yeah, that last That last image there in the photos section.
This one here.
Yeah.
So they put photos like that for all the
little blue
summits?
circle.
Oh,
No, they don't have all that information for all the summits. So looking at that, the Y is way up there to the right of that.
Huh. Okay. See, this is what happens when you get a bunch of ham radio guys drinking beer and saying I'm at a summit.
Right?
Man.
And Jeff, it looks like your closest summit, and I'm going to butcher the name, so you New
it's
Jersey
somewhere in
folks
PA.
don't come for me. Oh, really? Is it in PA? I thought it would be
I thought it was in PA.
Kushtunk Mountain.
I don't cross the river. I don't cross the Delaware
Oh,
River to go
I
to New
see.
Jersey.
To Delaware.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't go to. I haven't
So
been
then,
doing New
yeah,
Jersey
you
Park yet.
probably be
Besides, it costs
there's
$5 to
one
leave
in
the state.
outside. Oh, and I thought our toll bridges were bad. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 around York and Lancaster itself. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to actually, if you move out of New Jersey, you actually have to pay a tax to move out of New Jersey.
ouch.
They
Really?
do some crazy stuff
Wow.
over. Yeah. And it's funny when I see people move there. It's like, oh, I just moved to New Jersey. Good luck leaving there. I had a friend that left Oceanside, California, years ago, and moved to Tennessee, where he runs a very successful business. And the state of California came after him like 20 years after he left for, I want to say it was car registration, the money for registering
Oh, I
your car
believe it.
for X amount of years. He's like, F you. I moved out there, was it 2000 or whatever year it was?
No.
And he told him to go, he had his lawyer deal with it. He's one of those people that
Yeah.
says you don't threaten with legal action because that's fine. I'll just call my lawyer. He has a lawyer that
Paul,
does his stuff for him. California quickly backed off.
Paul, I'm not surprised that
I'm not
California's trying to make
surprised.
that.
I think
I'm surprised
I just
California
got
doesn't
a
have
text.
a moving tax.
Oh no, we do. It costs like 20. Well, we don't have a legal moving tax. You know, once you sell the house and sell off extra stuff and everything, it takes you about 10 to 20 grand just to leave the state with U-Haul and stuff.
Yeah, we don't tax you, but we tax movers and moving vehicles and moving
Right.
supplies. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when I moved to Florida, when I got out of the Navy, I moved to Florida, and they had at that time what was called a impact fee, where they would want to tax you $500 to bring in a car that was not titled and registered in the state of Florida. And so you had 2 options. You could pay the impact fee, $500, or you could basically buy a local car. And that was what they were doing. And I believe that eventually was either overturned by the Florida Supreme Court or the U.S. Supreme Court. And I believe the state of Florida had to pay everybody back for every one of those, because Florida, it's one of those places.
That's crazy.
It was like 1,000 people move in a day and 1,000 people move out. And that was 25 years ago. So I don't know what, like today, I don't know in today's environment what that's like, but
So that's why the state of Florida's broke.
yeah. So the Hillbilly Ham was asking if I was going to be at the Moore Expo. Absolutely. I will be at the Moore Expo. And I will be probably touting either both this YouTube channel, the Gray Man Pota, or Overlanding for Fun, my other YouTube channel. So one of those 2, I will be there. I am. I've been batting around the idea. I want to reach out to, I think it's Chris who runs that, and I know Jason's going to be doing some presentations. He did a presentation last year on not ham radio in general, but more radio communications on the trail, GMRS, CB, amateur radio. And then, so I'm kind kind of debating about maybe stepping into that space too, and seeing if there's maybe like a Parks on the Air or something like that. I'm not sure what Jason's doing this year, if he's going to do the same thing or if he's going to do something different. But I would be interested in doing something like that. Looks like his club's bringing out their communications trailer. That'll be kind of cool. Hey, since you're familiar with that area, besides the trailhead there, is there any other pota parks that are close to the fairgrounds? Because that's we went last year. There was a group of us. We went over there. It's basically a parking lot and a trailhead for a national trail that goes through. So it's not even really on the map as a true, like it's a pota entity, but not like oh, hey, here's XYZ park that you can go and set up. I'm not sure who found that. So Alan, any big stuff coming up on your channel?
Well, I got a bunch of videos coming up too. I got 2 videos from December coming up. I did my first 100 QSOs, and that video is going to be like an hour long. So I'm not sure how that's going to fit into the premiere. But I was thinking about it, right? I could compress this video and try to, make it reasonable. But would it be 100 QSOs if there weren't 100 Qs in the video? So, and it would take a lot longer to edit that stuff together. So it's going to be an hour-long video.
Hey, Tim, you have someone else.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's
Hi,
up,
Freddie?
Why is my video all laggy and stuff?
Freddie Mac is macking on the camera there. He's just like,
yeah.
Freddie Mac. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, gang? Is my video all slow and stuff?
It is a little laggy, yeah.
What's up with that? Y'all look great.
What's up with that, yo? Catch me out on the outside.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know what's wrong with my video, yo.
It's because we're all sporting Macs.
Well, this is the one
You're
time
not doing
I'm
anything
not
in
on
the
a Mac.
background, are you?
The one time.
You're not on a Mac tonight, are you?
No, I'm on the big gaming computer upstairs.
Well, Tim, to be fair, I'm not on a Mac tonight either.
I don't know why. Gee whiz. Maybe.
Reboot the camera, Freddie. I'll just beat Tim to it. Reboot the camera.
Yep, there you go.
I did turn the camera off today.
Is that an Elgato?
It is an Elgato capture card, but it's a Sony Alpha camera. If it comes back, let's see what happens. Da, 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 da. How about now? See, my local video is perfect, but not over the network.
Yeah, not over the network.
Is the PC CPU running hot for some reason?
Doesn't appear to be. It's a Ryzen 7.
Control Delete or bring up Task Manager.
Have you done a factory reset?
Haha, not today.
Not today. Your audio is.
Have you turned it off and back on again?
Yes.
So I got.
Have you upgraded the RAM?
No, this RAM was stinking expensive. I've had this thing just about a year and 6 months, I guess.
I had to take my RAM and take it from 16 to 32, and now everything's a lot better.
It really helps. It really.
More is always better.
Yes,
that is
true. More is always better. RAM, storage space, monitor size. More is always better.
CPUs, speakers.
Yeah.
Antennas.
Antennas.
Towers.
Tim, you're gonna have to fix your Nightbot.
Is that thing running?
Yeah. It just put Paul in a timeout for spamming caps.
Oh, wow. I was looking at that thing. I forgot that I had it on.
I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi on. I was running on my hard connection, but my hard line runs through an Arden router, and I've got some net congestion going on.
Yes, you do.
So I don't
An
know.
Just a
Arden
little bit.
router. Well, there you go. That's
Well, it's not. It's a router that's I'm using for Arden, and it really doesn't play well with my network. I mean, it does locally and it plays well with the Arden phone, but when I try to use all my local host names on my other devices, it's just like no, it's not going through.
Are you got two routers running inside your network?
Yeah,
It's because you're double natting there.
yeah. Well, this one is not supposed to do that, but it does that. So yeah, I'm still fighting with that crap.
I mean,
Uh,
What is going on?
14.4K.
Dave wants to know: is it a 56K dial-up connection, Freddie?
no, it's a it's a 9600 baud.
Oh, okay.
14.4.
My first
All right.
dial-up router, my first dial-up modem was 1200 baud.
Mm.
That's how old I am.
Mine
Are
was
you guys
too.
trying to use the packet packet jobby things that the
No,
Theo
no.
and Jim are doing on Nuggets?
If I were in Jim's shoes right now, Tim, that thing would have a few 9 cals through it by now.
There you go. Hey, what was it that you wanted me to turn off, Frank? Excessive caps? What? Who got?
Yeah, excessive cap.
Nightbot.
Nightbot, stop spamming caps was what got Paul.
Yeah,
So-
that's set for 8, man. How many caps did he need?
He did Control Alt Delete, so 3, 6, 9.
Oh,
So it was just right there at
See,
the limit.
Paul, 8, man. 8. You only get 8 caps. Yeah, just for Paul, I'm going to give him. I'll give you 21 caps. So I want to see a 21 cap
With some
salute.
wigs.
All right, you guys, I gotta jam out of here. We're doing presents, and I gotta go hang out with
You better get
the
out there.
fam, dude. Thank you guys so much for my first live stream on YouTube. Subscribe to Punk Rock Ham Radio. See you guys later.
Late.
Peace.
All right,
Later,
Alan. We'll
Alan.
see you. Have a safe flight back.
FD3.
All right, man.
Let's hear. There's 26, so it should be good now.
Dang it,
Yeah,
Bob.
I think you're good now.
I don't know how to take him out of timeout.
Oh, Paul was only in timeout for
He's already out.
5 seconds, so he's good now.
I think it said 600 seconds. Was what I don't know. I was looking at that. It was like, oh my god, I got to set a bunch of stuff up. We'll figure it out. So hey, while we've got some people here, I know obviously we're doing this on Tuesday night. It's Christmas Eve. Carboys and the Clubhouse guys. Well, at least Clubhouse guys are taking their time off. I'm not sure if Coffee and Ham Radio is going to be happening Thursday.
They are.
Jason, Ham Radio 2.0 will be live streaming tomorrow morning, and I'm sure he'll probably be doing something Sunday. And then I know he is also going to do something on New Year's Eve. I just wanted to keep the content going. I know people are kind of have got plans for Tuesday nights to sit down and watch live streams. So I thought, we'd get this in here, but I would definitely like, as we're regulars in the group, to kind of do this and use this as a way to kind of talk about the videos we're putting out, encourage other creators to jump in there and kind of do that.
Absolutely.
Heck yeah.
I know there's a finding a night for a permanent or a semi-permanent live stream. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It might be
Especially
tough.
in our niche.
Yeah. Chris Becker. It's a repeat of Callum from DX Engineering.
Yeah, they're doing the best of 2024. And as far as this week goes, I know there's Jason. Car, they're doing their FT8 Frequency Frenzy Thursday night. And then I have Friday night.
Yes, you're doing
and
Friday
then
night.
Josh is doing his Christmas light special Saturday night. So nice full week of live streams.
Any any predictions on what Josh is going to use for an antenna configuration for the lights this year? I know he was kind of hush hush about it.
You know, I have my ideas, but I don't want to speak about them because I might have an inside clue.
Oh, is that
Cheer special.
a neon pink?
This is the Coffee and Ham Radio's tumbler.
The one that Big Jim him and hawed about having to buy?
Uh-huh.
And that's
The
special
one and
color?
only.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I think that was probably their most popular color too, wasn't it?
It really was.
Yeah.
I actually, buddy of mine that, buddy of mine that's a ham, that sort of got out of the hobby, but not really, actually got the last tumbler, last
Oh.
periwinkle pink tumbler.
Periwinkle.
That's right. So, hey, good news. We are providing value for all the problems that happened tonight, the microphone things, Freddie's camera. We are providing value here.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
that is, John now knows
Mhm.
about FT8 poker on Thursday night. That's why we're here.
So basically, tonight is a mix of Clubhouse and car with the Premier guys.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little smack talking thrown in.
Just as long as we don't have a Molson rant.
Now there's an idea.
There's that.
I miss Molson
Yeah.
beer.
And yes, John,
I miss
periwinkle.
beer.
Periwinkle pink.
Oh.
Can you not get that in Molson beer? Can you not get that in New Jersey, or did they not pay the tax to?
No,
resell full beer?
I don't drink.
Oh.
I don't drink anymore due to health
Gotcha.
reasons, and I want to drink a lot of beer.
I want to as well. Is my video more fluid?
And one of my favorite bands does songs about beer all the time. Oh my god!
Freddie, your video is actually it's working.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
restart OBS. That was the
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey Freddie, lift your chin up. Forget to shave this morning.
I'm almost 3 weeks into this beard. I came to a realization about almost 3 weeks ago. I was in this line of work 33 some odd years, and during that whole time, and I started when I was 20. During that whole time, I wasn't allowed to grow a beard. You know, I broke my ankle once on duty, and I was off for 3 weeks. And I want to grow a beard. It turns out I've got these Joe Dirt genes, and it just doesn't really let it grow really fast. So a week into it, all them years ago, I was going to grow a beard. It was driving me nuts, so I shaved it, and I never tried again. So I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm retired now. I don't have to answer to no man.
Well, you got Mrs. Freddie Mac to answer to, so don't. let's not
well,
forget
she's-
that. I don't want you to get you in
now it
trouble. Looking out for you. What you couldn't have a beard because of a gas mask or what?
No, just the line of work I was in. It was against policy. It's just, and you know, they're letting them do it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I see police officers all. I think matter of fact, every police officer in the town that I live in, including the female
Yes.
officers, all have beards.
Especially
Oh,
in
yeah.
November.
Yeah.
But
Tim,
I caught that female comment right away.
Tim,
I just got
well, she could probably grow one better than I could.
So now Cooley says looks
So
good,
can.
and I'm not sure, Freddie, if he was talking about your video or your beard.
Well,
But
the
We're
beard,
gonna let you take that one either way.
I don't know how many of y'all ever heard of Grecian formula, but nowadays I think they call it just for men gel. I'm really thinking about this because, gosh, no, look, you know, I don't have that much gray hair up here, but because it's all down here, just in scads, I'm like, what the heck is going on?
It fills in. It's doing it to me. It happens, right? And it's
Yeah.
it's okay. It's a part of life. Chris Brecker says let it grow. So
I'm going to let it
assuming they
grow.
were talking about your beard and not the video.
Freddie, all I got to say is you got to have some Italian genes in you to have 3
Yeah.
weeks to get that. Because this is a month in. A month.
Ah, gee whiz, man. You got some of that Irish blood like I got. Just
Yeah.
like,
70% Italian over here.
Well,
Knocking, nope.
it is what it is. I mean,
Mhm.
I got a whole lot of European. It's English, Irish blood, some Scottish blood in there, and about this much Cherokee that will knock you off of the beard wagon every day of the week. Because if you notice, I grew up with a lot of American Indians. They can't grow a beard very well. They barely can grow a mustache. It's just not their thing.
Yeah.
And I think I'm right in that same gene pool with them.
And at this, John, you're absolutely right. Once you get past the itch, you're good.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
about halfway
that's
through
true.
that. Just it's not as bad as it was. The itch. It's like in the middle of the night, it's like, what the heck is on my face? Oh yeah,
Just remember, because I've had this happen before. I did grow a little bit once. That last little severe itch that you get, don't shave it at that point. That's the last point you want to shave it at.
I'm going for the gray man pota beard. Is what I'm
It
going for.
only
There you
becomes problematic when you're drunk. Otherwise, it doesn't really bother you. And get a good lotion. Get a good salve.
Yeah, I'm learning that
right
too
there.
because I have discovered I'm beard growing stupid. I'm ignorant, I should say.
You need beard oil, beard salve, beard
I-
balm.
So
All frizzy.
I didn't necessarily want to turn this into the beard channel, but now that we're here, I use a beard butter, so the oil doesn't really help. Sometimes when my skin gets really dry, the oil does help a little bit more for the skin, but the beard butter does good. And then about once every couple weeks, it just depends on the temperature. I'll actually steal some of my wife's conditioner and let it soak in there, and then when I get out, I wrap it up in a towel, and and I fold the towel up, and I
I
wait.
could see it now. We could come out with our own brand, Delilah's Duck
Right.
Butter Beard Cream, beard oil.
It's possible to do. I had a friend that made like beard oil soaps and other stuff until he got out of it, passed it to his son. But there's a lot of like small, I won't call them entrepreneurs, but that make like fancy beard oils, beard soaps,
See, I never
shaving
knew that was
soaps,
a
all
thing.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Never knew that was a thing. I don't know why.
I think it's one of those things that a small business can do, basically starting off in their garage,
Hmm.
and
Yep.
an idea.
either buying it pre-made and bottling it themselves, packaging it themselves, or actually making it and packaging. One of the things, like the stuff that I get, I get from Grave Before Shave, and they make great stuff. Problem is though, is that when the stuff separates in the mail
Yeah, yeah.
because of the heat and everything like that.
Far out.
And Frequency Frontiers is correct. It adds 10 dB.
NDB. Yeah.
Yep.
And Freddie, you know why you haven't thought of all this stuff yet? You're like me; you didn't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was the biggest part of it. I remember my kids looking back at some of my pictures when I was an investigator. I tried to grow a mustache because you were allowed a certain amount of mustache, but I looked like some kind of cheesy, low budget porn star.
Hey now,
So
Freddie Mac.
once
Boom,
it came
chicka,
off,
boom, boom.
yeah, it was more like wah, wah, wah. Homage to Frank. I called the net tonight on the HT 1250
Awesome.
with the neon green glow in the dark case.
There you
KI
go.
5 NHD put that on for me. Tristan out in Woodward, Oklahoma.
Wait a minute, get the right direction here. I got my bright
Ooh.
safety orange case.
Is that a the Virotech?
It's a Quancheng.
Ooh, with a bling bling case.
With
I'm
a- yeah, with a
super
nice
jealous
orange case,
now,
yeah.
man.
I actually, I tell you what, that's a fun little radio to play with. I'm not
Oh, yeah.
not an HT guy in general, but that's been interesting because the different, the firmwares and stuff like that.
Exactly. That's the best part
everything.
about it. There's people
I'm-
making all-star nodes out of these things now. So yeah,
I'm going to keep you guys happy. The ICOM ID50.
There you go.
ICOM.
Team Icon.
ICOM goodness. I like icons.
Who you keeping happy?
Don't worry, Jeff. I have a Yates.
I don't
Because
get
Jeff's
it.
a Yaesu guy, and I forget the brand of your QRP rig.
The FX4
I'm only Yaesu because that's where I just kind of gravitate to because I like the
I do
screen.
too.
So I've always had a Yaesu radio, but I have a G90, got that
Oh, that's
FX4
FX4
CR.
CR, yes.
I don't have anything against ICOM. It's just the fact that I've just never owned one. Um, I like the fact I like the interface. I like how they have it standardized. They've had it standardized for several years now. I'm not going to say a number, maybe 10. I don't know. But it does have a nice interface.
Oh, yeah.
It's just I just never had a desire to buy an ICOM radio.
John, you want to talk about a
So-
Frank Flex? This is a Frank Flex. I don't know if
Oh,
Freddie
hang on.
can.
Hold on, hold on.
Kenwood.
Where's
All
that?
right.
Where's that? Where's it? Oh, where's the
It's
big button?
backwards.
Where's the big button?
The
There we go. There's a Frank Flex.
yeah, the
Why is it all
NX210.
backwards?
I got like a ton of these things.
Freddie's not backwards.
Well, I'm backwards.
There
Yeah,
I am.
Oh, just the
tech-
label is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Mine's not powered on though. I'm not hip like Frank.
That's what I use for the NorCal swap nets every Thursday at 10 Central. I had to think about that.
If my wife knew half the radios that I actually have, yeah, I'd be in way bigger trouble than I normally am.
You mean like all those Motorola's behind you, Freddie?
Yeah, there's a few Vertex back there. There's
Mhm.
a couple icons. Me and a buddy met up with a guy off of Facebook Messenger. Businessman had a bunch of icons for sale, like $35 a piece, maybe $30 a piece. I don't remember. We looked up the model number that we thought we had right, and we met him down in North Texas, and we bought all of them, and they were a trunking model. We planned on making GMRS repeaters out of them, but you couldn't because they're a trunking model. We ended up with one. We ended up figuring out with one modification to the radio, we could make transmitters out of them. So we've got a bunch of extras. Now you could use them conventionally in your car as a GMRS or a 70 centimeter radio, but we ended up with a box full of radios that we ended up not being able to use as much as we thought. But those ICOMs will make a very strong little repeater.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they're great. I love them. And my GM300s behind you, if they weren't so stinking hard to program, I mean, I've got the stuff to do it with. It's just really old technology. But dang, if they've got thermal protection on them, so if they get too hot, they just shut down and wait to cool off, and they come back on again.
Yeah, the GM300s, you need DOS and less than 386 machine for that.
I've got an emulator, DOSBox emulator I use, and it's
Oh my goodness, that reminds me of when I worked at the casino. They had to program all their radios with an old DOS PC. Oh,
the Motorola's.
that just brings back memories.
Most likely.
Yeah, I believe they were Motorola's. I watched them do it. I never did the actual programming because it wasn't my group that did it.
Oh,
But I remember watching them, and I'm like,
old school.
Jesus, using DOS to program those
A lot of
radios.
those,
is just
a
sad.
lot of those radios were almost bulletproof.
Oh, absolutely.
It took them years to upgrade the technology, but like I got a couple of M1225s I got at Huntsville Hamfest. The pair of them, $20. No, it's $10. He wanted rid of them. Now I know why, because I forgot the software only runs on like Windows XP or older. Yeah, so I've got to find me an emulator rig laptop.
Well, my casino was notoriously known for being cheap.
No, yeah.
So they wanted to create a blade server. If you don't know,
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
sure if you know what a blade server is. Basically, it's they built it out of wood.
The rack, the server rack.
Yes, the rack and the boards the PCs went
Oh,
on.
well, that's cool.
Oh my! They did some cheap. They were cheap, and I was amazed that they actually bought a brand new point of sale
Oh
system.
my.
I installed it, then left. It's like have fun. But they were notoriously cheap for buying and dealing with software, unless it was something to support the business, like the patron accounting system
Right.
or the point of sale system, like that. But for like smaller stuff, nope, they were cheap. Radios, oh, they're 50 years old and you have to use a DOS computer to program them. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And they were probably still buying the radios new at the time too, instead of upgrading.
Wow.
Oh, I forgot
Probably.
my microphone was muted. So, Freddie,
Is that
you
a
might
Kenwood?
recognize this one.
Or is that the
Yeah.
mic's on? I can't tell.
It's the Kenwood TK290 VHF.
Oh,
This is what until NXDN was mandated, what we used at the railroad. And then, of course, I got the big boy.
Yeah, I
the
seen that in your
Chungus.
video today. I was like salivating over that one. I'm like, you sold a kidney to buy that, didn't you?
Surprisingly, no.
That there was a railroad truck unlocked somewhere.
Nope. This one, no, actually. This one, so 7,000. I got it for just shy of 1,500 with all accessories.
That's about right. I seen
And
a
it's
lot of those at Hunts or at Dayton.
and it's VHF 7800, so I can sit there and listen to our 7800 trunking stuff, non-affiliate scan stuff, as well as VHF.
Oh my gosh! Don't they make a model like that does quad band?
Yes, the
2 meter, 7
8,000,
centimeter. Is it
the Apex 8,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just Jeff and Tim, to give you an idea, the base model number. So this is the Apex 7,000. The base model number, just basics, everything, $7,000.
Yeah,
Brand new.
Those are
Yep.
for real.
Why?
Because that's Motorola. Their model number matches their price point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That is too true. Now, with all that said, Motorola makes a great radio for public service. Yes.
Absolutely.
It works good on ham radio frequencies. And when I say good, I mean the signals are perfect, but I want a VFO in the field with a radio. I want to be able to program on the fly, which you can do with some Motorola's now through the front face. It's a pain in the butt because it's a different process than what I'm used to.
FPP, front panel program.
Yes, front panel programmable. All these big words.
Chris, I don't know if that's the Apple of the radio world. I really don't.
Oh no, this is definitely not. It's close. This is like the Linux of the radio world. The newer Kenwoods, the NX 5300 decks, those are the Apple of the radio world.
And I would probably throw Harris into that group as well for a while, but I didn't.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they purchase Tate recently within the last couple of years? Tate makes a really good public service radio. They just
that's been quite a few years now.
I've never messed with public service radios. I know.
Quick way to insanity.
So I supported a county government, and I did a lot of work with the sheriff's department, but not in the radio side. There's a one or two companies in the state of Indiana that, or at least at that time, they contracted to do most of the in support for the state's statewide radio system. So.
Oh yeah.
It's
good stuff. I'm going to have to jump out. I've just got a text reminding me of what time it was. So we got some company coming over here in just a little bit. So I just want to say thanks for having me aboard on the inaugural episode.
Thank you. Are you going to bust out the larceny?
I would if it was here. I have just a touch. Have you ever heard of Ezra Brooks? Bourbon?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
I discovered that recently. Apparently, it's like one of the oldest bourbons on the earth.
Hey, speaking of that, we need to take a road trip when we're at Dayton over to Kentucky. Lexington isn't too far.
Yeah, I was pulling a trailer when I went through there last time, and I'm like, holy smokes, I'm in Kentucky.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, basically on 64 all the way from Louisville to Lexington is a whole slew of distilleries.
So Freddie,
yes, sir.
Before you leave, Prep Ham Paul wants a dad joke.
Let me see here. What can I come up with that's not recycled? Yeah, it's probably going to be recycled. I can say one, but I can't say it on the air. So let's go. It's not necessarily a dad joke, then, would it be? Let's see here. Dude, I don't perform well on cue, but
Paul putting the pressure on you.
yeah, that's what I'm saying because
CQ dad joke. CQ dad joke.
let me go to my source here.
And Jeff, KS0JD, yes, Harris is L3 Harris at this point because they
Yeah.
took up a bunch of groups of radios, and yeah.
Why did the district attorney bring a ladder to court? He wanted to reach a higher level of justice. That's a dad joke. They're so dry.
That is a dad joke.
All right, guys, I got to take off. 73.
Later, Freddie.
Y'all again, man. Thanks for having
See you,
All right,
Freddie.
Hey, Freddie, have a Merry Christmas.
me. You too. Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas,
Yes,
Freddie.
Merry Christmas, Freddie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already down to 20 meters, 10, 12, 15, 17 while we've been sitting here.
Listen to you.
Mazel tov.
That's right. Gesundheit.
now I need 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, and the gentleman's band 160. And no, I'm not using the Poseidon. I'm using my full infed half wave, which is attached to the gutter antenna as well.
So how many antennas do you have there?
How many do I have?
I mean, that you actively use?
Oh, most of them. Because I'm here at home. I have the infed half wave, which is a par infeds. It's 132 some odd feet, and then I have it jumpered for 160 to the gutter antenna, which is a whole nother antenna system just on the lower level of the house. I have a VHF Yagi, a UHF Yagi, a 7800 Yagi, a J-pole for the repeater, because I have a DMR machine here at the house, and then like 4 scanner antennas for other radios.
I bet your neighbors love you.
They're all at the back corner of the property, so none of them can be seen except for the jumper between the infed and the gutter antenna, which is about 8 feet of the car orange wire that comes with the Poseidon. Yeah,
I've got 2 antennas. I've got the DX Commander now, and that's just sitting out in the middle of the yard. It's a freestanding one. It's the Signature 9. My neighbors don't care. I guess they haven't said anything to me about it. I think and I also have an infed half wave. Oh, Merry Christmas, Mike. Thank you. I also have the infant half wave that's out there, and but I kind of, since I built the building, I've had to take the infant half wave down. I've got to find a new place to hang it. I like to have both the vertical and the horizontal antenna because I can switch to either one on the fly. And honestly, I don't think it really makes that much of a difference in general with polarity. By the time you start bouncing off the ionosphere, your polarity is kind of out the window. It's just more of, at the moment, at that time, which signal, which antenna can I hear them better on? Or
and then I have my ground loop
on, and so it's options, and it's nice. I used to have are you familiar with an antenna called an Eagle One?
Yes.
Okay, single element, 31 foot. Basically, they were using jack height poles and putting the wire up the middle. 9-to-1 tuner, or basically you needed a 10-to-1 tuner, but it covered 80 to 2 meters, or 80 to 6 meters.
Right.
And that was my first antenna. I had one of those for probably 4 or 5 years, and it was up for at least 2 years before my neighbor even noticed it. And although I've got a farm field behind me, I have, basically a traditional half-acre lot, residential neighborhood that I live in. And so I don't feel so bad. I wonder sometimes. I know people, and I think somebody mentioned that they were in an HOA. Sometimes I think if hidden properly, sometimes even in plain sight, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'd push the limit. I'd push it and
Well,
see what happens.
well, let me answer this real quick, John. No, it's not a Krampus hat. It's a Santa hat. Actually, it's a Santa elf hat because there's the elf ears. Here, let me pull the chat off there. It
Oh,
has
hang on,
elf ears.
hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. Let me
Yeah.
blow you
So
up there.
elf ears, and this is because of my green
Green.
screen. Yeah, it's all green, so you get the green screen effect there. And as far as the antennas go, you can take my neighbors don't care because we live in that fire prone area of California that has been hit year after year after year. And I a- I have gotten information out faster than the PIO has. Now, granted, I don't try to take over their job or anything, but people come to me and go, "Hey, Frank, what's going on? What's going on?" So they know I have all these antennas up, and they just don't care. Then I have the loop on the ground that's in the driveway, tucked in between the cracks that I did a video on last year.
Yeah, that's something I've got this stuff. I bought the stuff for it last summer to do a loop on the ground. And I was going to build it and I held off. We built the building and I was then we had to move the building before we
Right.
built it. The Board of Health came in and said, "You're too close to your septic system perimeter drain, so you need to move to the
Oh,
other
no.
side." So we did to achieve that. So that was fine. And then so that's why the antenna has got to move. And so now when spring rolls around, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. With a lot of other things here in the building, lightning protection and lightning detection and stuff like that. So that's going to be fun. Jeff, what do you got at home? Or do you,
I got RFI.
you got the RFI antenna?
Yeah, I have KB9 VBR J-pole in my
Yeah.
attic. I also have a alpha antenna. At the time, it was called a J-pole Senior. It's an end-fed half wave. I don't know why they called it a J-pole. That was the model of it. It's like a 34-foot end-fed half wave, 6 through 160, and it works great. Well, it didn't work that great up in my attic, but I had it. I did used to do backyard portable before I put any antennas in my house, and I'd string that antenna up from my 15-foot high deck all the way down to the fence line, and I got all the way to the Indian Ocean to the Seychelles Islands on some de-expedition that was out there early in my amateur radio life. So that antenna works. It just doesn't work that well up there with the RFI.
Yeah.
So I do. That's why I started doing POTA because it allowed me to get out and do HF radio.
Good way to get out and do HF radio for sure.
It's a
Yeah.
it's definitely a fun activity to get you to go out. One of the things I don't know if you guys saw on the social media is I just crossed over 10,000 logged
I saw that.
POTA
Congratulations.
contacts this morning. So
That's pretty cool.
it's surprising how fast it picks up. I started POTA when POTA first started, but it was a very casual thing, and I was terrified of speaking on the microphone. I had some serious mic fright, and so calling CQ just scared me. I mean, it literally paralyzed me.
Yeah.
And that's why I did digital so much. And I didn't mind speaking on the like the repeater and stuff like that because I could you listen long enough, you get to hear people, you get to understand their personalities and things like that. So at that point, it's talking to somebody but talking to a stranger clear across the country or even in another country on the other side of the ocean kind of
Yeah,
paralyzes me a little bit. But um, what I really liked about POTA was it was a comfortable environment, unlike contesting. Although, I don't know. Contesting has a whole different vibe to it from that
yeah.
standpoint. But yeah, just
Poto's,
getting out there and doing it is now
yes.
so much fun.
Yeah, one of the big ham tubers, I forget who it was. It could have been Mike K8 MRD. But if you have Mike Fright doing POTA, it's simple. All you gotta do is say, "Hey, this is so and so doing a Parks on the Air activation." If you could get past that, that
Yeah.
is. And when you actually have to talk to someone, it's like, "Hey, all right, I got your call sign. I'm at Park AB or US 12345, and you're a 5'9". Give them a 5'5", whatever, a real report, and say thank you in 73. There might be a little bit of chit chat sometimes, which is also sometimes nice. Um, but it's a simple exchange, and yeah, it's a simple exchange. So it was. I think that it was Mike, and he mentioned that's a good way to get over Mike Fright. That's or at least one way, and you're actually doing radio stuff. Um, I kind of in your face kind of thing where it's like you just need to jump in there and do it.
Kind of like live
Just
streaming.
Yeah.
talk.
It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, like live streaming, or like me. I have I'm very have anxiety with social
Yeah.
situations, um, and drinking used to actually help me in those situations. But um, I know it's in my head, and I remember when I first got my license and had my first radio and was hearing people talk, and when they'd stop, I was scared to death of keying that mic and saying, "Hi, this is K3 Jersey," or whatever, and starting trying to start a conversation. I was scared, but there's only one way to get over that, and that's to do it and keep doing it. And and I listen to repeaters, and like sometimes I just don't want to talk to certain people. Sometimes I don't want to be part of a certain conversation. Um, but that's okay now because then I can just whenever I want to, I just hey, this is K3 Jersey, and see if anyone comes back to me. Like I did that today driving to my father's
Yeah.
house. But it's Mike Fright's real, but you got to get over it if you want to be an amateur radio. And if you want to talk in amateur radio, you need to get over it. Unless you just want to do digital, that's fine. Um, One thing I do tell people, and I've been telling people a lot recently, is you need to be assertive. You can't talk. Hi, this is K3 Jersey. No, you gotta project your voice. You gotta be assertive. You can't make people what? What's your call sign? I can't hear you. You need to speak
Yeah.
up. Now, if it's your mic gain, that's another thing. You'll figure that out in the
Yeah.
long run. But you can't go. You can't be timid and shy when you're talking. Kind of like I'm doing now. I mean, I'm not being shy. I'm being assertive.
Leaning into the
We
camera.
all have been being assertive,
And
looking into the
Leaning
camera and
in.
everything.
and and as Simon says, you got to put some spit into that microphone. You want to be heard, you need to make yourself heard.
That's
Yes,
right.
yes. You want to be heard. You want to come through clearly. You want to be confident. You want to speak assertively and confidently into the microphone. You want people to be able to hear you. Um, yes, it's scary. Um, like I said, jump in feet first. Just do it.
And
But
Roger has a good point here. He had mic fright. Just start by hunting POTA. just hunt pota all day.
Yeah,
And then once you
That-
get the hang of
that's
it,
what-
you're good.
And that's so
that's what Mike's KNMRD's advice was, to hunt pota, not activate pota. But yeah, because you just say, yeah, you just throw out your call sign and it says, hey, K3 Jersey, this is you're a 5-9 to my park, US 12345, and you go, okay, thank you, 7-3. You're a 5-9 to Delaware or
Yeah.
whatever. It's simple. It's a simple exchange. Contesting is kind of like that, but it changes depending on the
Yes.
Contesting
and-
is something else.
so the big things.
Yeah.
I agree. Start with hunting. And when I first started activating 10 contacts, nowadays you go in, you start an activation, you can walk out at 100 contacts in an hour. I mean, it's the technology is there for people to know. When you were calling CQ for a while, you might go 5 minutes without making a contact, and you would have that a kind of awkward moment. What's nice now, because you've got so many people looking to make the contact, it is rapid fire. And you move at your pace, move as fast as you're comfortable, but you don't have to stick around and have a conversation. Now, a couple
Yeah.
times you will find, and I don't want to, because I have gray in my beard, some old timers that want to talk, and that's fine too. But control it. Hey, how's the weather? Appreciate the contact. Thank you very much. I've got some other people waiting to call. And you have a great day in 73, and then go right into QRZ. And it just
or it's when you have familiar calls. If someone contacts you 100 times throughout your activating career or whatever, you're like, hey, I haven't heard you for a while. How are you
Yeah.
doing? And it's nice if you start the little conversation. You say, well, that's pretty cool. I appreciate you calling. Hope to hear you again soon. And in 73, and you move on to the next person. That's also a nice thing about it too. I wouldn't say old timers do it, but I've done it. I know I've done it because I haven't heard people, and when I go back to 100 watts, I hope to hear some people I haven't heard since I went QRP or QRT QRP. Since I went QRT,
That would be a different story.
QRP, yeah.
I think somebody needs to do a mumble rap version of the Q codes. In a Coolio fast paced mumble rap. Eminem kind of
Where's Quirky James when you need him? I'm sure he would do. He'd have that down by midnight.
There you go. Yes. So POTA, I think, has been very good in that it's getting people out. It's re-energizing people. It's giving an activity to amateur radio besides just the sitting in the shack and talking to people. The outdoor aspect of it, the hiking, the climbing the mountain. Eric's video tonight of him and his friends going up to the Soda Summit there in his area. How far do you live from him? He lives in New Jersey, doesn't he? No, he's in New Hampshire.
Yeah,
New Hampshire.
He's up there.
Yeah, all I know is I saw snow and it made me cringe. But
all right, later, Mike. Have fun.
So.
Later, Mike.
See you, Mike.
Yeah, and I do POTA. It's more casual for me. I live by myself with my 2 dogs. I don't have someone to do the shopping for me, do the laundry for me anymore. So I got stuff to do and things to take care of. So I go out. If I go out and do an activation, it's because I have the time to do so, and I will struggle sometimes to get my 10 contacts. Sometimes it happens over a period of an hour, but once I get my 10 contacts and maybe it's getting dark or something, I need to pack it up and get stuff done. And there's some people that are retired that or have the ability to do parks on the air multiple times during the day at multiple parks. And that is awesome. If you are retired or have the ability to work and do that all every day, then you're lucky. Um, some people get physically or even mentally exhausted from dealing with their jobs. I am one of those people.
Me too.
I get mentally exhausted from doing stuff during the day sometimes, and I just even during the summer, it's like I know I have like another 5 hours maybe of daylight, but you know what? I just don't feel like my brain can deal with that kind of thing. But I go out when I can, and if like when I travel down to Virginia, I will take advantage of that and try to hit parks I haven't been to yet. And um, I wish I could do parks on the air more. I like being on the air,
It's fun.
but I don't even know how. It's awesome that you hit 10,000 contacts. That's
So
awesome.
I'm looking at my
I don't even know where I am.
yeah, I'm looking at my log uploads. My first log upload was in 2020. But I don't know if that was the log that I uploaded or if that was because you used to have to send it to your area coordinator. So there was a coordinator for each
Yep.
call zone. You would email it to them and then they would upload it. And I'm not sure if this is reflective of those or not. Because I feel like I started
probably
uploading
is.
it before because I was doing it before COVID. I just didn't put it on videos like some people put it on.
Yeah, I'm sure it's your complete history of parks on the air activity.
Yeah, it should be.
Because I know I got stuff on there from the national parks on the air. You hunted contacts with people, and those showed up in there.
Huh. Okay.
And I'm looking at my stuff, or at least my activations.
Let's see. For me, activated bands, I have 3 on 80, and the rest is everything from 40 through 2 meters. And I have 6,837 contacts.
I don't even know where some of that stuff is. I'm just going through. I was at the activations page. Now I'm in the awards page, and
It's under my stats, at least for me.
my stats, my stats,
Yeah.
my
John
stats, my
says
stats.
he's got just under 2,000 and he got his license in July. John, is those hunter
That's cool.
contacts or activator contacts or is that combined? But either way, I mean, you know, it's fun. It's a dance. I mean, not everybody wants to go out and
Normal content.
and I do a little bit of,
Yeah.
although the majority of mine is activator, because I work from home and I am in my shop, right? It's my YouTube studio. It's my ham shed. It's also my work. So sometimes I need to get out of here. And with the park between 5 and 15 minutes, depending on where I want to set up. You know, I'm easily over there. I can do it. One of the things that I have done is I got the ATOS 120, and I took
Mine's in the
I took a page from
mine's in
Mike,
the mail.
and you know he uses his in Texas because it gets 120 degrees in the shade there, and you can't necessarily easily sit outdoors. Where the opposite, I mean, it was 20 degrees out. I love wire antennas, but I tell you what, I'm not seeing that much of a performance hit over a wire antenna with the ATOS. Now I run portable, and I run portable for a reason. And with that comes the philosophy of good enough. I'm not here to try to squeeze every ounce of performance out of it. Want to make a functional radio station and get on the air, and that's where I focus my time. So that's what I do. I focus on that and get out there and make contacts. And to me, that's kind of therapy. go out there and I sit out in the woods. I enjoy being outdoors in the wooded areas. I get back in the forest, and kind of the moniker Gray Man Pota came from the I just, not that I don't want to be around people. I just go and want to be in nature. So I go and do that, hang out,
Yep.
and
Yep.
enjoy it. Chris, I've also got the JPC 12, and I like that antenna for a ground mounted vertical. It does a pretty good job. And you're right. It does pretty good. The only thing I didn't like about it was the ribbon cable that was included. I swapped those out for some B&Techco silky wire radials, and that's been pretty good. The only drawback is obviously you have to adjust the antenna for the different bands, but 20 and 40 and 10, I'm on the air in short order and I'm having a good time. That's what I like.
Yeah, I think the one reason why I don't mess around with like wire antennas or experiment with stuff is because I want to get to the park, set up really quickly, start making contacts, get my, I know 10's the minimum, but if people stop calling, I'm not gonna go travel up and down the bands trying to find people to talk to make contacts with. I got my contacts. I need to go.
Yeah.
I don't have anything against wire antennas. I have one that I've used before, but it was more of a relaxed situation where I was out for a few hours with other people and had the opportunity to actually easily stick it up on their equipment. But I have some other antennas I want to play with, and just depends on the right situation. Like tomorrow, I was supposed to go out with some people, the school bus, the guy with the school bus, and some other people. We were going to go out and do a parks activation down here. Um, Wife said no, so I might go out and go somewhere and just play with my new radio for the first time on the air. So we'll see what happens. Who knows?
So what's your
And for
new
me,
radio?
the longest time.
Newest radio is 891. I got
Oh.
891.
And for me, the longest time I had the in-fed half wave, a shorter version of the one I have here at the house. And then I got to Poseidon, and we all know my solderoids. If you don't know my solderoids, there's videos out there. I did that, and I haven't looked back. I use that for everything now for activations. And it's, put a wire, string it up
Some
25 foot pole, and you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with the wire antennas. Okay, I'll straight up say I don't have anything against wire antennas, just like I don't have anything against ICOM. It's just fact when I started, there wasn't not many people were talking about masts and using masts to get antennas in the air. It's like throw the wire over a tree, and I just don't know if I could do that here in Delaware. I never asked. I've never even researched it,
Probably have to pay a
but
tax.
I'm not going to try to. That's Jersey.
Oh,
But I'm just not going to get into that situation. Like with other things, I am aware of the situation. I just don't want to be put in the situation where I have someone coming up to me yelling at me or writing me tickets because I put a piece of wire in the air. Now, it's good to know what your state parks and wildlife areas allow and what they don't allow. Like, for example, I hope everyone knows that if you go in Virginia, you're not allowed to make a big freaking scene in the parking lot and put stuff in the ground at wildlife areas.
Yeah,
Wildlife areas, as far as I know.
it's as bad here in
It's
California.
because yeah, it depends. I mean, that there was a big announcement on I'll say the dumpster fire of the FB group of the Facebook group.
oh,
And
say what you want about
it brought to attention that yeah, I stopped going there. A few things pop up in my feed, and I'll either ignore it or give it a thumbs up. But I don't post anything there, at least right now. Again, but they stated the fact that if you guys want to go to the or I think it's the National Wildlife Refuges in Virginia, do not set up in the parking lot with like a tables and towers and stuff like that, and do not put stuff in the ground. Do not put spikes in the ground. If you do and you get caught by the staff there, they will disallow people from using radios in the park or in the wildlife area.
I don't know
So
if I can do that.
I don't know, but if they see someone if they say, well, someone put a spike in the ground, it broke the irrigation system they have there. That's what they have. That's why they said
Yeah,
that they have
and
irrigation
that's
stuff in
fair.
there.
That part's fair. I just don't
Yeah.
know if they can prevent people from in public places from doing
I
public
don't know,
things.
but I am planning to hit one. It's I'll straight up say it right now. It's oh God, I can't remember the name of the wildlife area, but it's on the south, at the very, 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 very southeast corner of Virginia. It's a national wildlife area or refuge, and then right below that is False Cape State Park, and there's no road to get into False Cape State Park. You have to walk from the parking lot of the wildlife refuge through there into the state park. And I plan on activating the wildlife refuge from my car, like I would probably normally do. Probably wait for warmer weather, of course, and then hike through the wildlife refuge into the state park and find a place to set up somewhere and activate there, and then walk back. But I like to be mindful of what I can and what I can't do when I go to places.
Yeah.
I just don't know where all that information would be, other than the sometimes on the photo website for each park.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have all of that information. They have a little bit of information, but I like to know what to do, and I like to play it safe with. So okay, I'll just work from my car. I'll put my mag mount and use my ham sticks. If I have
Yeah.
to sit at a park bench, I'll have my Buddy Stick Pro.
That's why
I,
a
but
lot
I'm
of
not.
the activations you see from me, they're they're out of my car.
Yeah, and plus I have a comfortable way of doing it when it's warm weather. I put the tailgate down and I sit right at it. It's like a perfect desk.
So
Eh,
I have never had a problem. I've had one interaction with law enforcement when I was up at the Dunes State Park up off of Lake Michigan. And it was the winter time, but I had a mast stand. I was parked in the parking lot. I had a mast stand on the backside of the Bronco, and I had basically the 20-meter section of the Pactena infed half wave up, and had the transformer down at the other end of the Bronco, in front of the Bronco, and just kind of had it up in the air. And the police officer saw that and just wanted to come over and say hi. And yeah, I spent more time explaining the Parks on the Air program than anything else. Super nice and everything. And you know, and we said our goodbyes. None of this. Well, we got a complaint of a suspicious person. But I will say, and this is one of those things. To your point of going out there with tables and banners and everything like that. A lot of times there's I don't know, an impression that we need to be ambassadors for the hobby, and we do, but we also don't need to go advertising that we're necessarily out there doing a Parks on the Air activation. Go have fun. Go do your activation. It's not field day. You don't need to have a media contact and notify the local newspaper and all this other stuff. You just need to go have fun enjoying your hobby. And that's kind of where I've been. So when I go, I tend to try to go to forests and away from groups of people. And actually I went to Red Rock Canyon out there and went on the loop. and set up over in the corner of the parking lot, and kind of the same thing. I had a rental car, and I was that POTA 20 mast and antenna and everything. And I became more of the attraction than the attractions, because people were like wondering what I was doing and everything. And I finally packed it all up and just left. And I came back the next morning and found a parking lot that was still in the park, but outside of the loop, the tourist loop. It was a horse, was where people, they parked their horse trailers. Went over there, flung the mast up, made my contacts, had a good time, and made a video and everything, and called it a day.
Oh,
Yeah.
the horse nuts or something else. And Chris, it depends on the state of California. It really depends.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say now. Yeah, the idea of being an ambassador to the hobby is a good thing. I know people like those banners and those flags and making a lot of noise, like, "Hey, I'm here. Please talk to me." But I think it's good, like in a hamvention or a ham fest kind of environment. If you're going to be out in we could probably do a whole video on this, discussing this. But if you're at a park and you're doing an activation, the park is the attraction, not you. Just because you're doing the amateur radio thing, if someone comes up to you and asks you, that's fine. I've had plenty of people come up to me and ask me, what am I doing? Some more annoying than others, being some of them were drunk. But yeah, it's just being nice to people. Again, treat others how you want to be treated. You put down your mic, say, "Hey, I'm doing this. This is what I'm doing." It's talking to the people all across the world, go to different parks, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think you need to put flags and banners up and have your sound going through a PA system so everyone can hear you. It's a park. Let people enjoy it. It's bad enough that you have people renting out the pavilions and having parties and barbecues and people with their loud cars coming through, their noisy loud cars, electrically noisy loud cars. And they have music and all that other stuff going on. It's bad enough. Just don't add to it. It's like also like the keep the park the way you found it, like bring out your trash and all that kind of thing. It's just, and the gray man thing too.
Yeah.
You go in there. I don't have a siren and lights going on. It's like, hey, park's on the air, doing here ham radio.
Kind of
I
like
go in
Frank
there.
with the flying a drone, and he's got the banner hanging off the drone. And
Now, there was no banner on the drone. The
prove
drone.
it.
You saw the footage.
Not of the
Speaking of that
drone.
activation, actually, speaking of that activation, that was the time that I had the horse lady say my radio was too loud.
That was when you guys sit up at that table, you and the other guy, and right next to your truck,
John,
right?
yeah.
The radio
yeah,
was
yeah,
so
right.
loud.
I remember
The
that.
drone, that was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were right there, but yeah, I'm like, really, we're sitting there, we're nice and quiet. You know, the radio's literally maybe 20% up on the knob on the Yaesu. It's not that, on the 710. It's not booming that loud. I have an external microphone sitting right there, a little DJI type mic sitting right there to pick up the radio audio. But yeah, she had to come over and get all nasty about it. I didn't get all of it on film, but there was just enough of it.
That
Did you ask the
you should
speaker
have gotten it on.
supervisor?
You should have gotten it on film because that makes good video content.
Oh yeah.
I know. I was thinking about it later, and I'm like, I wish I could have just flipped the camera around and been like, "Hi, you're on film."
Especially with the confrontation, and don't let them argue with you and tell you that you can't use them in their videos because they're in
Right.
public.
Exactly.
Yeah,
As a
No-
photographer, there's 3 rules to public photography and videography: public place, public presence, public expectations.
yeah.
And in a state park, you have all of those except when you're in the shitter.
Yes, you do.
Or in a cabin, maybe, as long as the curtains
Yeah.
are closed. And that's
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
long
But,
as the curtains are closed.
Roger-
I'll tell you, Jeff, you made
Roger
You made a statement.
I was gonna say, Roger,
This one?
you want to go ahead? Yeah. Um, yeah, being discreet's one thing. I don't actively go to talk to strangers. If they come up to me and ask me what I'm doing and I don't feel threatened, then I will gladly say what I'm doing, take a break, um, and talk to them. Maybe they might be interested in amateur radio. So if they're a little bit interested, then I'll be like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. Um, but I would talk to even suspicious ones I'd talk to because you know what? I'll stare them down. You never know what can happen anywhere you go, so you should always be aware of your situation and be watching people.
Y-
But
Yeah.
talk
So
to them. It might scare them away
Jeff,
too.
you made a statement early into this that where you said when you go to the park is the attraction, not the activator. And I think that's a good rule of
Yeah.
thumb. And I have not heard that in any of the parks on the air literature, or the statements, right? Because I mean, you hear people saying that well, in the dumpster fire on Facebook, that is the POTA Facebook group, you hear them, yeah, people will say, "Don't ask for permission, just go do it." And I agree with that. Um,
Yeah.
unless there's a specific, like, no, you can't be poking stakes in the ground because we have a irrigation system or something like that, or you're in an area where it's a historic site and you can't do that, which is a conversation that um, thinking about when looking for sites to do photovac activations, looking for those kind of things to see, well, if I can't put a stake in the ground, how else can I fly an antenna? So those are some thoughts. Um, but yeah, I would like to see that maybe turned into a bumper sticker or a tattoo or something that, at a POTA activation, the park is the attraction, not you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It also came up with POTA entities that are sensitive sites, like the Flight 93 Memorial. I think it's Flight 93
Oh, that makes
Memorial up
sense.
in Swanksville, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember someone posted about it. It's like, I want to go there, but what do I do? All right. I am a big person that talks about people with and without common sense. Do I actually have to say this about what I told them? Probably a lot of people did too. It's like, you want to go activate the site on 9/11. One, I think well, I don't know. Would I consider that person an idiot? Maybe. I didn't know the person, but 9/11, you want to go to a site and do a POTA activation. We say you could do it. What you do is you do it from your car, you be very discreet about it, and then you go. You don't make a scene. It's the same thing with
Exactly.
making the
you, kn-
scene. The flags, the banners.
I wonder if
It's kind of like
if
it's a recent event. I'm old enough where I've seen many events similar to that throughout the
yeah.
world, and it's just common sense. Are you that brain dead that you don't make the connection between the sensitivity of the site and what you're doing, and that you don't need to make yourself a spectacle?
I
Jeff,
wonder if
but
Um,
there are some people that are that brain dead. I work with a few of them, so I know.
yeah.
I know
I
too.
I wonder,
I've
if
worked with
somebody
them in
wasn't
the
doing a
past
POTA
too.
activation there, if there wouldn't be a special event station that would be there on September 11th or that week. I mean,
I No, I think the people that do the special event stations, they might have a little bit more sense about themselves, about the
yeah,
situation, and they might do something like maybe from the Pentagon, something more public than like, or more general than like the Flight 90 or 93 memorial, or they just might do it from home with a special call
Yeah.
sign, or as a group, maybe go to a local park or something like that to do the special event. I think the people that do the special events, just in general, I think they have more of an understanding of the situation that they're having this special event for. Not all of them are location based. 13 colonies. The only thing location based about that is that those stations are in that state.
Allegedly.
They don't have to, yeah, allegedly, but they don't have to be at a historical site for something from the 13 colonies or Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
But it's something cool to do an activation from, or a special event activation from one of those sites.
That's a
Maybe
fun
So-
event.
I could probably do one if I ever do that. I could actually do that here in Delaware. There's a POTA entity that goes by the only battlefield that was in Delaware, and that is not a state park.
So I
It's a trail that goes right by there.
I will share this. Let's see. That should Tim, when you get a chance,
Yeah.
I will share this. They do have a special event station for 9/11. This is dated from this past August.
Yeah.
So they do
Oh
have
yeah, I know there's special event stations for, but these guys are in Alabama, or at least they're the
Yeah.
ones that are talking about it. I think I didn't
But
get the chance to read that,
the Alabama
but
Contest Group. I'll
it's
drop it in the chat.
yeah, they're doing it as I wouldn't say a memorial, but they're doing it in honor of the event, memorializing the event. But they're doing it from Alabama, which is cool. I mean, I
Yeah.
think a lot of people should probably do that if they did groups like they did, like I don't know. I'm even gonna try to think about it, but if a lot of people, different clubs and stuff, did that on 9/11, that's cool. But you don't go to the site, the somberness of the site, and interrupt it with a special radio POTA event.
Right.
You just don't do that. It's just common sense. Now, like I said, with um, the special event stations, they could do a lot of that stuff is done in their own houses, maybe at clubs locations, or maybe a club get together of some type, which is still pretty cool to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, like, the idea of making a scene at such a special kind of memorial site, you just don't do it. You really should have common sense. The question should not really have been posed. Someone should have had the common sense to say, I would like to do this it's a POTA entity, so I would like to do it. But you know what? You know what happened. You were alive when it happened.
And
Think about it. You want to be very discreet about it.
speaking of being
Um,
discreet, Paul's taking a nap before work. 73 Paul, Merry Christmas.
73, Paul. Well, hey,
Night,
speaking
Paul.
of taking
Later.
a nap before Christmas, or we're coming up on
It's-
2 hours here now. So
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
like to first of all thank you guys for jumping in here and helping out. Frankie, you got a few things coming up. You want to let people know and drop the links for those in the chat if.
I do. Yeah, I'll start with my link there. I have every Thursday as long as I'm not working, the Northern California SwapNet. This week is edition number 52. So we have made it, well, not for me live streaming it every week, but we have made it through 52 editions of the NorCal Swap. So that's coming up Thursday I start about 5 minutes early. So 9:55 Central, that's 7:55 Pacific time, or
We're on East
10:55
Coast now here.
Eastern. Yeah, you guys are both Eastern time. So 10:55 Eastern. So it's real late for you guys, but we've had some very interesting check-ins from all over the place when we had Echo link up. And then Friday at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, I'll be posting that link for it tomorrow. I have my CQ chit chat. It is the last CQ chit chat of the year. and it is going to be coming up with a bunch of ham tubers. And as I said earlier, here we go. There's going to be a
Hold on,
fun
hold on.
giveaway.
There we go. Big Frank.
Okay, Big Frank. Well, then let me make this one Big It. Let's see here. Cover me up. There we go. There's going to be a fun giveaway. I have 2 of these boxes, and there's going to be quirky QRP items as well. So pay attention for that on Friday.
I think both things have to have those stickers on them.
Most HT radios coming from overseas do. So you might be onto something there, Tim. You might be onto something. I'll leave it at that.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
we'll have. I know
I have
Josh
no prior
and
knowledge to any of this.
Josh and Mike and Tim and Jeff. I think both of you said you'd be on for if you could.
Is this another one
Fre-
that started at like 11 o'clock at night Eastern?
No, this is going to be 6 Central, so 7 Eastern.
Oh, okay, good.
So same as not the same as tonight. Yeah, the same as whatever. Now for
Well,
7
8
Eastern. Yeah,
so 7 Central.
yeah, 6 Central
6
for
Mountain Pacific.
Yeah, it's going to be 6 Central because everybody else is in Central Time except for you guys, and those guys up north, and so I just go off of Central Time.
All the real ham radio operators are on Zulu time.
Right.
You're not a real ham radio operator if you don't know Zulu time.
Well, it will be 0100 Zulu. How's that?
There we
I'm
go.
cheating because I'm looking at the FT8 clock over there on the other screen, and I've gotten 10 through 40 for the new UTC day so far. So
Awesome.
Let's see here.
You get the
That's
12
about
days
it.
of Christmas on QRZ?
I am. I'm getting the digital stuff out of the way first because that's the easiest to do. And I will bring this up, and this will be my last thing. I gonna have to pull it from my video, so I'm sort of stalling for time here. Quirky QRP. Tim, do you have a code for him?
I do. I do have a code. You mean like a discount code?
Okay, well, I'm gonna drop this. Yeah,
But
there's gonna be one better than
mine's just discount code.
He's gonna have. So Quirky QRP is having a Christmas sale, and it starts tomorrow at 9 p.m. Pacific. So in 26 hours, that starts. It's 10% off when you spend 100. Starts 9 p.m. Pacific, runs to 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve. End of season. I don't know why it's not spaced out like that, so I'll drop it again so that it's. Yeah, no, it spaced it. I'll drop it in the private chat for you, Tim, to add to the video. But end of season deals 24 is the discount code. So have fun with that. Get yourself something from Quirky QRP, and I'll drop his link as well. And I think that's about it for me, Tim.
Hey, look who showed up in the chat.
Oh yeah, I'm just
Speak of the
James.
devil.
You just missed me spending like 5 minutes talking about you.
He did. He summoned the Hannibal.
Well, we're both here in California, and he's just 2.5. No, not even 2.5 hours away from me. So we need to go do a pota in the new year, James. Get you away from the family for a little bit. Oh yeah, Chris is right. That was a Boondock Echo moment.
Oh, there we go. Frank, you got a Boondock Echo?
I do not. I've been hinting at Mark to try and get me one, but I have not gotten one yet.
I'm not sure. I think he said he had a few left.
Yeah.
Last number I heard was 11, but I think some of those had sold. Maybe
I got to talk to him about that. Apparently, James sensed a disturbed force.
That's right. That's right. So, Jeff, what do you got going on?
I actually haven't done a Parks on the Air activation since the beginning of November. I had one of those 4 videos to do. I'm actually kicking myself in the rear end and cranking down to study for my extra. My license expires in beginning of March, and I need to get my extra. I don't mind paying the $35 if I don't, but I'd like to get my extra before then.
I
Other than that, I don't have any content coming up except for tomorrow night. I need to upload that as soon as we get done here. That should be an interesting. That was filmed last January, and I am doing it. I've decided to put it up. I waited almost a year to do this, as told out it, but those people are no, I'm no longer dealing with for the most part. So I decided I'm gonna upload the content.
huh,
It should be interesting.
okay. So is
If anyone,
is it a newly edited video with the new graphics in it, or
yeah, it's going to have the new graphics. It's just the actual content of the video was filmed last January. If anyone is interested, I do a net control. I do net control Sundays for my maybe soon to be former club. I don't know yet. I'll put the information there. Sundays at 8:30 Eastern. I run it. They finally got an all-star link and a stable Echo link. You're more than welcome to check in. I have NetLogger running. Um, it's you're gonna see Marple Newtown, weather and infonet. I did put that in the chat, but if you're interested, you can check in. We do get like a good number of check-ins. It's runs for about an hour in the morning. Um, I enjoy doing it. There's just a few elements in the club that I don't like that tick me off. But I do like doing the net. So they haven't said that they found a replacement yet.
yeah?
So it just might be one day I just show up and before I even hit the PTT to announce the 2-minute warning, someone else might do it. And that's when I'll know they replaced me. So
That's one way to find out.
uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, I told them that they need to start looking for a replacement, but the person I told does have a habit of not communicating. So yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
Like the past 2 weeks, I kind of been waiting for someone else to chime in, and then I just do it, but no one says anything. So I'm guess like, okay, I guess it's still me.
Yeah, and that happens,
Got
unfortunately.
to crank down. Yeah,
Sometimes.
it's just things. People can just really flip a switch and just tick me off. Could be the way they talk to me. It could be what they say to me. Um, it was one situation was someone kind of rudely talked to me and yelled at me for no apparent reason, and that kind of really irked me. And I've been making fun of them ever since, indirectly.
Well, this is why I don't like
And
clubs. I want to deal with that.
I know I've always said I'm a lone wolf because this is the third club I've joined, and it could be the third one I'm about to leave
Yeah.
after a bit of time.
You know, I will
But
say this, Jeff. There's two clubs that are absolutely fantastic, and they're right here. Clubhouse and Toads. No drama, no BS, no nothing.
Yep.
that's not true.
No
The
fees
no
either.
BS, no drama.
Well,
I'm not going to talk about my opinion. I like everyone in the club in those groups. I have nothing bad to say about them, but there was an instance, and it rubbed me the wrong way a little bit.
Oh, okay.
But I have nothing against them. I mean, I'm still members of those things, and I'm not very social on Discord. I deal with our Discord, and that's really about it. I look at other
drop a lot
things
of F-bombs in our Discord.
for information. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of Discord servers on
Yeah.
and most of it is informational. It's like for the Ham 2K software, Freddie Mac to get information from him about the All Star stuff, some of the VE stuff that I need to eventually get back to, and like Clubhouse Toes, Ham 2.0. I really should probably leave the Ham Shack hotline stuff and the
So
hams over
so
IP
Chris
because you
Chris
know what? I don't care
Becker
about that
said
stuff.
it YouTube is my club. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like, and part of I really didn't even get into this. Part of the reason why I kind of titled this the Ham Radio Kids Table is it's part of that new generation, right? Kids have always gotten pushed off to their table, and the adults are over here, and that's what I kind of feel like clubs are sometimes. They're just old stodgy farts that don't want to do anything different. There are some good clubs out there, and don't get me wrong, but I think most of the time, it's I have gravitated to the YouTube community. I've gravitated to the Discord, the Toads, Jason's group, the Ham Radio Clubhouse. This is the next generation of people, and they're not afraid to try stuff new. They don't
Absolutely.
sit there and beat their chest and get all excited and feel important because they're a ham radio operator, whatever, you know. But this is a group of people that love to get out there, have fun, and do this. I see John here talking about Salty Walt and Ape and To. This is right here, and I'm going to start pissing old timers off here pretty soon, anyways, with some videos coming out. But I'm not going to. You hear them argue and get on the air and cause interference with live streamers, right? I'm sorry.
Mhm.
This is the classroom. Classroom teaching and making money at classroom teaching of amateur radio is perfectly acceptable. If anybody bothers to actually read the rules and understands the interpretation, or even go back and look at the letters the ARRL submitted to the FCC when they did this last iteration of what a pecuniary interest was, it had everything to do with emergency management agencies using ham radio and ham radio licensees as their backup plan instead of spending money to buy the equipment they needed to do it.
Mhm.
And that's really why they cracked down on it. It has nothing to do with teaching. Greg, for example, K6 EDG, he's in here. He gets out, he live streams a lot. And there are, I guarantee you, a number of people who have watched his live stream, who have taken a bit of information and have been able to use it. It is the classroom of the future. It's not
Mhm.
some club with a bunch of old farts that just want to sit there and chest thump about, you need to do it this way because this is how we've always done it. I'm sorry.
Greg, speaking of
Yeah.
Greg, he's also had people come onto his stream, either probably indirectly just through chatting on. He when I started following Greg, he was doing just
Thank you, Ed.
it was before he was doing HF
Yeah.
stuff. He had people come on or that were talking and think they were communication lawyers. Sadly, that they were mistaken, and I've dealt with this before. I am very inept with the legal stuff of what I deal with, like music, the amateur radio, YouTube, and all that kind of things. Greg knows. He's in the broadcast industry. He knows. People like to say that you can't do stuff because these are what the rules say. Unfortunately, it's these people that are. Greg's gonna know who I'm going to talk about. Too drunk to understand that they're talking out their rear end. This one instance, well, the person was drunk, at least seemed to be drunk or whatever. But people think they're lawyers and they know the law. I have corrected several people in on my club's net that I used to do daily, that I no longer do daily or check in daily, about different grumpy old hams thinking that they knew law and copyright law and entertainment law, and I've corrected them. I've pulled up the information. I corrected them. If you don't, and this is one of my other pet peeves. If you don't know what you're talking about, you better be prepared to shut up and be put in your place.
Yeah. Well, I
So I will say
I
this,
feel I don't know. I don't think it's
and I think this is a good point to hit at home. So
where's
sorry,
it
Tim. Rogers, it was a little bit ago now. He said that he watched YouTube to see if he would want to get his license first, and then found Pota and Soda, got licensed, and then so YouTube has become
It's
the club of sorts.
it is
Absolutely, and
you yeah, you both said it right. YouTube is a great place. I wouldn't say it's a club, but it's a great source of information. I got into doing parks on the air activations from watching Mike Cade, MRD, and KB9 VBR Michael. That got my POTA juices flowing. I know Greg K6EGG has commented to me that he's learning how to deal with picking up call signs and repeating call signs by listening to my videos of my activations. And that's pretty cool that someone tell you that. But yeah, everyone, YouTube is a great source of information. If you go and search for something, anything, you will find it on YouTube.
Oh,
Hopefully.
absolutely. And
absolutely.
I truly encourage people to get out there and film it. Poto, what? Oh my god, you guys!
Pota
I'm gonna have to- I'm
juices
gonna
sounded
have to turn
creepy.
on here. Yeah, but some I encourage people to record. I had a guy. I was thinking about this the other day because this was all kind of back into that me being afraid to get out there and do things. And I had a guy in a professional setting say, Tim, you really need to do a YouTube channel. And I'm like, but I just don't feel comfortable getting up and doing presentations. He goes, just do it. You have a wealth of knowledge that people need to hear in the professional side of what I do. And he really kind of got me into that. And that kind of led to doing the overlanding stuff. I did computer videos for a while, and I've kind of backed away from that. I did gun stuff for a while, and I backed away from that because of the regulations and headaches of that. But the overlanding and the amateur radio are areas where, you know, I can go out and I can have fun and I can teach and I can do these things. And there's a teacher in every one of us. So I do encourage people to, you know, get out, record. You don't have to put it on YouTube, but get comfortable doing these things and, you know, be the teacher that you wished you had when you were coming up.
I mean, Dustin
Yeah.
has a good point here. He got back into radio after watching Ape on how to set up an RTL SDR. I think that, and you know, I have never been a huge supporter of Baofeng, but I think RTL SDRs and Baofengs are the way to do it.
They're
At least to get your feet wet.
they're the peanut butter and jelly, right?
Absolutely.
And that's another one. I know a lot of people really poo-poo on Baofengs, and I've said it, and people have kind of poo-pooed on me saying it, but I truly think Baofeng is directly responsible for saving this hobby. Baofengs and other radios like it that were inexpensive because Frank, you're holding up a $1,500 20-year-old HT there, or whatever it was, or even just a common, you know, the one of the ICOMs or the Yaesus. What, $160 for the basic Yaesu or ICOM?
Depends upon the model,
Radio.
but yeah.
It's
The digital mode, yeah.
But to get into this hobby, I did it. I got a UV5R or UVA Plus or whatever the variant was. Probably the 8+ because I wanted the 8 watts over I wanted the 8 whiskeys instead of the 5 whiskeys, which really is 2.5 whiskeys. But the point is that I was able to get my feet wet, find out pretty quickly that radio was not going to be adequate for what I wanted to do. But I didn't feel bad because I didn't go out and buy $160 radio or a $200 or a $2,000 radio to get into the hobby to find out that I wasn't going to like it. Right.
So, Tim, I look at it this way.
Yeah.
You can spend $350 plus tax for an ICOM ID50, which, face it, right now with the economy, not everybody has that kind of spending cash.
Right.
Or you can spend, what, $30 for a talk pod, a Quansheng, a Baofeng, and get into the hobby with $30.
And then you can get Corky QRP to
Perfect.
show you how to port the Pong game over to it, or not Direwolf, Wolfenstein, on your Quansheng, and have some fun.
Exactly. So I'll tell people, go get your talk pod, go get your Quansheng, go get whatever before you dip your toes into the ICOM or even the Yaesu, because you don't know if you're gonna stick around forever. Some people do, some people don't.
Yeah, and going that route for a cheap radio, cheap as in inexpensive, is good for some people. There's a local ham, a newish local ham he got on the air. Him and his brother both got licensed, but they have one radio between them, and it's a Baofeng. It works. It gets him on the air. Now, if he ever goes through college, gets a job, and has some more money, maybe he might be interested in getting a Yaesu or an ICOM, or maybe even a Kenwood. Who knows?
Exactly.
Or some more expensive Baofengs or the other like DMR based radios too. I mean, the cheap radio, should stop saying cheap. The inexpensive radios are a good, easy way to get into the hobby, and that is great.
It's a good gateway drug.
Yes.
It is.
Some people, they like me, they went out and got a Yaesu for their first radio. Luckily I stayed with the hobby. But not everyone. That's why you do see some of these radios. These like, oh, I just bought this FTD5 or FT5D.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say the new Yaesu. I bought it for $500, but I'm just not happy with ham radio, and I want to sell it. It's like, why'd you buy that big radio? You might have the money to do so. That's awesome. But if you're not sure about the hobby itself, I mean, dip your toe and spend like $20, buy yourself a cheap Baofeng if you like it. Well, I want to get something better now. I want to get some digital modes. Maybe I want to go DMR or some Fusion. Who knows? I've never said anything bad about them. I'd never own a Baofeng, but doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with them. Like I said earlier, I never owned an ICOM, but I think they're great radios.
So it is fair to say that the quality control is not there. That is not the same that you're going to get with a Yaesu or an ICOM or an Alinco or one of the many other commercial type radios that follow that manufacturing process. But at that, when you drop an $18 radio, you don't sweat it. You drop
exactly
a $350 radio,
you freak out.
Your butt puckers. And it's that simple, right? I mean, they can fall off your truck, if you stick it up on the trunk lid, and then all of a sudden the kid's pushing the buttons, and next thing you know, the trunk lid flies up and it goes flying over the top. And I mean, those are all true stories that happen. Greg can tell you about that. I'm sure he's had one of those experiences with his Tesla. And he's right. Tim, DMR is not real ham radio.
I'll put it this way. This is my ICOM antenna, but it's still, get it turned on here. Still works, still keys up, still has absolutely fine. I haven't charged this battery in over a month, and I use it daily.
Nice.
I don't believe that. So I'm gonna call shenanigans.
Hey,
unless it's a
call
big, thick
Shenanigans on Ham
battery.
Radio too, because he's the same way.
No, he actually uses his. I don't know about you, Frank.
I use this daily.
Yeah.
Granted, it's
If you're
more of a
listening
scanner
to, if
for-
you're just listening, I could see it, but if you're transmitting to, I don't know.
I'll get on DMR. I'll get a bot in cross mode once in a while, but it's 60-40, 60% receive, 40 transmit. So
Yeah. Chris just made an interesting comment about reset on DMR and Wires X and Fusion and all that other stuff. Jason Ham Radio 2.0 just made a video this past week, I think it was, talking about the digital modes and stuff like that. And yeah, you have all those different digital modes, all most of them are proprietary. It's a pain. Standardization would be nice, but even if they all played together nicely somehow, yeah.
It's another one of those. I'm going to go on a tangent. I hate digital modes. I like the trunking over the internet, but to me, I got into this. I live in between two towns that have repeaters, and this was prior to hotspots. So you go out and you buy the DMR radio, then you go buy the D-Star radio, and then next thing you know, I'm talking to all the same people. Well, we're not even talking on digital; we're all on analog because that's just how it was. Because that was the only thing that I had that could talk any kind of distance, and that's where everybody still just stayed. So, to me, I don't think the digital sound as good as just plain old analog FM. I do love the All-Star. I love that. And oddly enough, as an IT guy, I have all kinds of experience with Asterix, the phone system that they're using as a trunk for All-Star. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So I'll leave you
we
with
could
this
go on a
thought, 'cause
tangent about the digital modes.
Before hotspots were a thing, no one wanted to set up a DMR repeater at the north end of my county. What did I do? I bought an SK's DMR repeater and set it up at the north end of my county. Now, granted, it's housed here at the QTH. It's decent. It gets out far enough. But before hotspots, that's how you had to do it. And that's a Motorola XP 8400. That's some serious cash to lay down, even on the used market.
Yeah.
James,
the variety is
so,
nice.
well, hey guys, I know about a half an hour ago I said we're gonna wrap it up. we're 2.5 hours, man. I appreciate everybody stopping by. This has been fun. We are definitely going to try to find a regular night for us to kind of do this and have these things, and we'll invite people in, and we're not going to be as formal as the clubhouse. I mean, they got those rules and things like that. We want to be a little more laid back, but yeah, good stuff. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hanukkah starts tomorrow for our Jewish friends, and the year is wrapping up, so enjoy it. Spend time with your family, and let's have a great 2025. So, and with that, 73, my friends.
Thanks, Tim.
Agreed.
All right.
Later.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Tim.